All right, Shalom. Good morning, Boaz here. Welcome to the Covenant. What I wanted to talk about was, with regards to business, repeat business, and why it's so important. I recently went to a client's house. I've done many projects around their house, and they called me up and says, hey, minor things, just true handyman stuff. Replace some light fixtures, fix a doorknob, hang some shelves. This is what I like about, this industry. And, you can get paid a lot of money just for doing these things because they don't want to do it. Or, they don't have time to do it. Now, this is a husband and wife. The husband works. He travels. His wife is home. The grandchildren recently moved in temporarily because they sold their house, and I worked on their house as well. So the daughter, the husband of the daughter, I worked on their house as well, and their house sold probably within 5 days of being on the market. They said some ridiculous number like that. And why is it that people in the suburbs, in rural areas, their houses are selling? Why? Because people are moving from the city to the country. The vast majority of my clients are from the city. But, going back to the concept of repeat business, right? She calls me up and I said, for some reason, I guess 2 years ago I wasn't doing Google reviews. I just now got started doing Google reviews. And I said, I think, can you, just give me a review? Because, you didn't give me one a while ago. And she was like, well, yeah, I think you didn't ask or whatever. I didn't have it. Because I just recently started doing Google reviews in the past couple of years. But I've had them as a client for many years now, since I started, I think. And so she says to me, yeah, we've always been pleased by your work. You're always reliable. And she says, you're the only man. This is a very powerful statement. I was humbled by it. I was honored and humbled by it. But she says, you're the only man that my husband allows in the house when I am not there. I was humbled. I was honored. I mean, because he has his daughter, he has his granddaughter there, he has his grandchildren there. And hey, you have to be of a high level of integrity and honor to get that kind of statement from someone. Because in this day and age, you got to be careful who you allow into your circle. You have to be careful who you trust. You have to be very, very careful, especially in these times. And from, just a carpenter's and handyman's perspective, there's a lot of unscrupulous people that are in this industry. And me personally, it's funny because, I exploit this. I tell people, man, if folk teeth are jacked up, then chances are, their work gonna be jacked up. Be careful of the quality of people that you allow into your house. I tell clients, I tell everybody that all the time, because you just can't trust anybody. And this is why reviews are so important. This is why testimony is so important. And I'm not joking, you know what I'm saying? Check out my website, check out Google reviews. You'll see what I'm talking about. But this is why it's so important to be a person of honor and integrity, because especially in this day and age, it's going to go a very long way. I tell you, man, it's a beautiful thing to be able to have, a client say something like that, and it makes you step up your game even more so. Reviews, repeat business. I mean, it's good because I'll leave off on this. Repeat business it really is powerful, because now the phone just rings. Now the phone, it just rings. And what happens also is that, clients, they're not gonna call up anybody else to do any kind of work in their house. They're just not gonna do it. You need to find out what's going on, because you're a person of honor and integrity. But if you're not, you're gonna have a challenge. You good, buddy?
Huh?
You good?
Oh yeah, I walk him every morning.
Okay, okay, all right.
Thank you, brother.
All right.
I get him out walking, man. If I don't, man, he gets all hyper and everything.
Well, it's a beautiful thing. I mean, man, I want to make sure you wasn't broke down on the side of the road.
Thank you a lot, man. I appreciate it.
All right, no problem. Guy just walking his dog in the middle of the cornfield. This is just a cornfield out here. He's walking his dog in the back. But see, that's what it's about. About neighborly. Just checking on your neighbor, checking on, because it costs nothing to get out and spend 10, 15 minutes to help somebody if they're broke down. And you'll get a lot of that out in the country as opposed to the city. But I digress. But that repeat business is vital, because again, they're not going to call up anybody else. They're going to call you up. And I'm at that stage now where, there's the majority of my homes that I deal and I work in. Those clients, they will never call up anybody else, because they don't trust anybody else, and they understand the importance of honor and integrity when it comes to being in someone's home, because you're around someone's family. And if somebody doesn't have a proven track record in testimonies from a business perspective, anybody that's coming into your home, I wouldn't trust them at all. But y'all stay blessed out there. Stay encouraged. Yeah, repeat business is where it's at.